often underlooked conspiracy that's on the surface is what happens in the music industry with rappers who get signed to major labels and then subsequently get life insurance policies placed on them. I could independently verify this as I have a friend who is recently signed to a 7-figure deal to the biggest label out there. He will remain anonymous for now. And he revealed to me that this does happen. Record labels put life insurance policies on their artists. I wanted to break this down. This is my buddy Curtis King's channel. If you guys aren't familiar with Curtis King, good friend of mine, I'll probably have him on the channel soon. And he unpacks this, why labels take out life insurance policies on rappers. I got to give you guys a heads up.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit, explicit,
explicit.
Check this out.
Jadakiss, what he's saying about the current state of the industry and why labels see a necessity in taking out insurance policies still profit from the artists in the event that they die.
Darkness, 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 darkness.
Labels are being successful off nonsense. Somebody went out, did something stupid, recorded a song about it, and was able to get a lot of streams, and that became a thing with the whole drill. They actually going out, getting active and doing stuff, and then going to the studio and make a song about what they just did. And
if you're not familiar with drill music is a genre of music originally from the UK. It since came over to Chicago, New York, the Bronx, and you've heard the bounce before. It's a very popular bounce, but in terms of the production. But what it makes it so polarizing is that a lot of these young rappers from very impoverished areas are rapping about committing actual violent acts on their ops, their opposition. And these songs are blowing up. And what makes it problematic is that these labels, these major corporations like Universal, like Sony, like Warner Brothers are signing these artists, giving them more money, and then taking out life insurance policies in case these folks end up dying, getting caught up in the violence that they're rapping about. It's really sad and it's really dark.
that should get nipped in the bud as soon as it got created. But nobody's going to these labels saying they wrong for this. We just blaming it on the kids. So like my brother Stout said, he don't like to just put all the blame on these young artists because the radio stations are making them the top songs and the labels are still signing. They're putting out life insurance on these young kids now.
Wow.
The label, because they're gambling on you to do some dumb so they can profit after you die. This is getting ridiculous.
Ain't that crazy? This is verified. I'm telling you, I know a art who's not even a drill artist, but he signed on one of these labels and they have a life insurance policy, a multi-7-figure life insurance policy on them.
Record labels are getting successful off of nonsense that has been a game that has been here for a very long time that I've always questioned. How does some of this music make it through? And not only how it makes it through, but why did it have an opportunity to become the most popular thing that these labels push? Was that done on purpose? There are many people who feel like these labels profit off of destructive music because these label owners also have investments into the prison industry.
Darkness. Darkness.
You mean to tell me that some of these same folks that run the labels who perpetuate violence in these marginalized communities also have stock and investment in private prison industries?
What a great deal. I sign you, you problematic artists, to talk about the worst shit possible. And I encourage you to do that because look at the success we're seeing. And then once you influence in whatever way that music can have that influence, because we can't ignore that. We have to take accountability because we're the voices that are doing this. We're the voices behind it. I can say something that can have influence around someone else's decision-making, especially when they're younger. And we all know that our brains don't fully develop until we're 25. When they're younger and more impressionable, you know what? I can put my money behind that. That doesn't sound crazy to anybody else. Whose idea was it for that to lead? How do we know that it's a profitable industry unless somebody said, let's try it out? Because hip hop has not always been what it is today. I am not for censorship. I am not for quieting the stories that these artists tell. I know it firsthand from living in some of these neighborhoods. It is nothing to be entertained by. It is nothing that you want to spend the rest of your life profiting off of. Even folks in the dope game don't want to be in the dope game forever because they know that the result of it is either you are going to be dead or in jail. But why is it that you have an entire entity full of suits and ties that continue to say, okay, what you got for me? Oh, that's edgy. Gets the people going. Let's put you in a position where we're not only going to sign you, but let's put you in a position where I'm going to give you more money than you probably ever seen at one point in time with no direction, no financial literacy, which these people obviously have. They have the companies that are able to put these loans out there. Where do we ask for the responsibility on their end?
This is a sickness of the highest order.
Who needs an Illuminati when this stuff's right in front of you, ladies and gentlemen?
and I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm trying to relieve an artist from their responsibility or their accountability.
Right.
But these are the suits that are supposed to know better.
Right.
These are the same ones that
these are grown men. Many of these folks are in their 40s and 50s who are profiting off this stuff.
profit when an artist gets canceled. They get to do a charity tour. They get to do a media run in which they get to parade around their embarrassed artists and make money off of that. They never get criticized for the bullshit that happens with the artist. It's only the artist that takes the brunt of that, and not the person or not the entity that gave them a stage or propelled them on this stage without the proper preparation, without the media training like they used to do before.
Somebody went out, did something stupid, recorded a song about it, and was able to get a lot of streams, and that became a thing with the whole drill. And they actually going out, getting active and doing stuff, and then going to the studio and make a song about what they just did. And that get nipped in the bud as soon as it got created.
It doesn't get nipped in the bud, because when your goal as a label is to profit and you see artists as being disposable, why do you even need to care? I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying, why would they even need to care? There'll be another one of you. How do they know that? Because they've been here for generations after generations. You know the people that seem like they never die? And I don't wish death on anybody. Execs. It seems like they're around for a very long time. It seems like there's generations of generations of generations that get to live through every era of hip hop as people are dying in the process, as people are making livings for themselves, but as they're still walking around with the target on their back because of the way that they were marketed and the things that were zeroed in on to market, those folks get to go on with their lives. They get to take their kids to school. It's not a safety risk for them to go to the grocery store. Nobody even knows what these folks look like. But what I'm saying is that when you put people out here and you parade them around and you market them and you do the thing that you're so good at, why don't they feel any level of responsibility for the things that they market? And why wouldn't they feel like they play a role in these artists who crash out? And because they're on a bigger stage, because their name is known by more people, it increases the likelihood that they'll be in situations that will want them to crash out. Why don't they take any kind of responsibility for that? Why is it only prayers and condolences?
But nobody's going to these labels saying they wrong for this. We just blaming it on the kids. So like my brother Stout said, he don't like to just put all the blame on these young artists because the radio stations are making them the top songs and the labels are still signing. They're putting out life insurance on these.
I want to get to that last part, but let's talk about this. Isn't it interesting? I don't know how much of my audience, I know majority of my audience is around my age, so you remember this era of time where rappers are being invited on talk shows. There were like BET panels where is music too problematic? Do rappers have more control over people's kids than their actual parents? There was a whole era where they were taking these 20-year-olds, teens at times, and then asking them about their responsibility to raise kids that are not theirs. Their accountability for the lyrics that they put out there. You know who wasn't in them seats? The people who distributed. The people who ultimately profit off of it. And we saw it earlier, the people who profit 88% off of this industry are never in those rooms to defend the art. It's only the people making 12% of the income collectively who...
Did you guys know that? Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here. I'm not sure if you guys know. You guys know that the people who make the music, the producers, the writers, right, all like the actual creators of the music, you know, out of all the money generated, which I think the music industry now generates over $10 billion a year, you know that 12% is what goes back to the people actually creating the music. The writers, the producers, the artist is what is the macro pie that gets split up.
Who face the biggest backlash for their decisions. And I'm not trying to relieve those artists of their responsibility and accountability. Once again, I got to reiterate that. But to give them all of it at the age of 20, when they're still trying to figure out what manhood even means to them, I think it's unfair. To put that solely on a young female artist who is pushing, but that's what everybody around her and her team is telling her that is required of her and what she needs to do. But when we know that our brains don't fully develop, our logical decision-making doesn't fully develop until 25. Think about how many artists make a switch at 25 and they don't do the same shit they did before. Think about Jay-Z. And then even society will come down and say, yeah, these artists knew better, dumbasses. You knew the filth you were putting out there. But nobody talks about the 50 and 60-year-old execs who okay the shit. Why? Shouldn't they really know better? Your brain been developed for damn near 25-year-olds. They don't know no better?
They're gambling on you to do some dumb shit so they can profit after you die. This is getting ridiculous.
So I've heard this before. I heard this years and years before this actual interview came out about the idea of labels taking life insurance on their investment.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
I even saw people in his comments who were like, these labels are entitled to that because this is their investment. That's such a way out way of thinking about it. So you're going to give the artists 100% of the blame, and you're going to give the labels 0% of the responsibility, and then the majority of the money too? If you're an investor and you make a bad investment, who does that fall on? You. It's part of what comes along with making investments into whatever business that you're doing. You run ads and you lose money. Wins and losses. It happens. It's a part of conducting business. But with these labels, they're able to do shit like, I know that you're putting out music that puts your life at risk, but you know what? I think you also can make a whole lot of money off of that music because of what we can provide as a machine and because of where the kids' heads are at these days. I just hope that you understand. They're taking that insurance policy off of you because they're banking on you crashing out. No matter how smart you feel like you are, no matter how seasoned your team is around you, they are banking on you. And they make it very clear by taking out that insurance policy when starts getting really, 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 really crazy. If you ever want to see the value of your life to these labels, and I'm not saying that every single one of them are the same. I think that's an ignorant statement to make. But when you're talking about people who are ruthless in business, you want to know how valuable your life is to the person that's getting ready to give you all of that money? I want you to see the next rapper that dies. God forbid, but we know it's going to happen. The next rapper that dies, and I want you to watch how quickly the death marketing rollout occurs.
Darkness.
I want you to see how quickly the stadium funeral arrangements are already made. I want you to see how quickly they're marketed on playlists.
Yuck.
And that's not to say that that the labels are the big bad wolf. That's to say that they have already created a marketing plan that circulates around your untimely passing, because that's what comes along with the investments in hip hop. So I don't say this to demonize. I say it to bring clarity. If this is what you want, know what you're getting into.
Yep.
If you're walking in here with your heart in your sleeve, make sure you're doing business with people who operate by the same parameters. In the music industry, ain't a whole lot of them.
Yeah, man. So shout out to Curtis King one time. It's the homie. This stuff is crazy, man. This stuff is crazy and it's far too common. And my whole point, why am I saying all this to you? Here's why I'm saying this to you. I'm showing you guys all this because for those of you guys that like to be hyper skeptical about everything, how about we focus on avoiding the pitfalls that are obviously right in front of us? How about we focus on avoiding the stuff that's right in your face instead of being needed to be distracted with some ghost that's pulling the strings behind the scenes when they're showing you to your face? And we don't really mess with your faith. We're going to promote and push stuff from BlackRock and investment groups that's completely anti your views. We don't really care for you to be healthy in your fitness. So we're going to push complete poison on you with regards to the food you're eating and then give you drugs to treat it and not solve it. We're going to push music that's self-destructive and we're going to exploit these artists. And we're going to make sure that your entire education system robs you of any imagination, any financial literacy, any hope. Instead of being consumed with whatever conspiracy you think is out there trying to get you, how about you pay attention to the stuff right in front of you? The stuff right in your face. Stuff right in your face. They're not hiding this stuff anymore. It's right in front of you. So you need some ghostly, shadowy cabal to pull the strings and pontificate about who are they and why are they doing it. And the World Economic Forum is right in your face telling you, trying to get people off of meat. We don't want, fossil fuels, or we're going to get rid of nuclear, right? It's right in front of your face. And you know why? This is my opinion. Folks overcorrect and go into the formation of the earth and all that stuff. You go on that side because it actually relinquishes you of having to take any responsibility. All this stuff we can take responsibility for. Did you know that? You can take responsibility of what goes in your mouth every day and what doesn't go in your mouth. You can take responsibility of how active you are. You can take responsibility of what music you're listening to. You can take responsibility of what brands and what artists and creatives you're supporting and which ones you're being more deliberate. You can take responsibility for that. You can take responsibility of your own imagination and you learning financial literacy. All of this you could take responsibility for. What you can't take responsibility for is some shadowy cabal that's pulling the strings and telling you that it's a zero-sum game and you can't do anything about it. So world's going to hell in a handbasket. So you just might as well just complain all day and stay fat and stay broke and stay addicted. The game is rigged anyway. You get to choose. You going to keep eating the way they've been wanting you to eat? You going to keep working like a little little worker bee and being a cog in their wheel? You're going to keep consuming the brainless, numbing content they keep pushing on you? Or are you going to do something about it? You're going to control the areas that you can control. Control the stuff you can't. I can't control whoever else they are. We didn't got to the bottom of some of who they are, right? I can't control if there's an Illuminati doing blood sacrifices and this combined. I can't control that stuff. I can control what goes into my ears. I can control what goes in front of my eyes. I can control what goes into my stomach. I can control that. So while you wrapped up in all the stuff you can't control and pontificating and debating and going down message boards and rabbit holes on YouTube, trying to get enlightened about how they're going to pull one over on your eyes, they're pulling one over on your eyes right now. You too caught up debating the goofy stuff. They're doing it right now, right in front of you. You rather talk about this stuff than learn how to manage your own money. You rather talk about these people over here instead of getting in shape and taking care of your body so you don't freaking die of diabetes. It's right in front of us. They're not hiding it anymore. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.